Mercedes has launched the W16 and the car looks absolutely stunning. The car actually lives true to the Silver Arrow's name this year with this beautiful livery. But the car itself has changed dramatically for this season. We have both renders and track pictures to go through all these changes. So let's see what Mercedes has changed for the W16 for 2025. Starting from the front of the car, Mercedes has introduced a brand new front wing design for the W16. The first obvious change we notice is that Mercedes has moved the nose cone down, connecting it to the first element rather than the second element in the W15. This is a massive revision considering that moving the nose cone down gets rid of the slot gap between the first two elements, which drives cleaner airflow towards the floor fences. Moving a bit upwards, we can see the team has revised the fourth element here. We can see this element on the W16 being much flatter, less pronounced compared to the W15. Mercedes technical director James Allison during the car's online launch revealed that one of the team's primary aims to achieve with the W16 was improving the car's performance around low-speed corners. Removing the slot gap in between the first and second elements means the front wing will be interacting with more fluid mass, generating more front-end downforce. But making the fourth element less pronounced will make the passage of fluid flow much smoother towards the floor fences, mitigating aerodynamic losses from the nose cone redesign and shedding load and drag. One more change within the front wing to note is the reposition of this metal bracket connecting the second and third elements. This could have a slight aerodynamic effect, probably creating an outwash effect around the front tyre wake. Looking at the front suspension next, this is something that even James Allison highlighted as a part that has been changed for the 2025 car. Configuration-wise, Mercedes has stuck with the pushrods configuration for the fronts similar to 2024, but the suspension geometry itself has changed a lot. We can see the pushrod is mounted a bit higher than it is on the W15, as is the case with the upper front wishbone, of which you can see the carbon is attached way up onto the upper part of the nose structure. In terms of anti-dive, the angle between the wishbones suggests that Mercedes have gone for a moderate angle of anti-dive for the W16, similar to that of the Ferrari SF25. Looking at this rearward shot of the front suspension, we can clearly see that Mercedes has abandoned its idea of the adjustable rear wishbone leg to adjust the angle of anti-dive. We saw Mercedes test this system with the W15 during the pre-season tests back in 2024, but they clearly have abandoned that idea for the W16. The brake ducts of the W16 are also revised. The ducts are slimmer compared to the W15's brake ducts. Also, this carbon fiber piece positioned around the lower wheel arch has also been revised. You can see Mercedes has attached a fairing to the end which is curved outwards, which is probably generating an upward airflow to carry the front wheel wake from the floor fences and upper floor. James further mentioned that every visible aerodynamic surface of the car has been revised, and we can see the team has made lots of changes for the W16 looking at it from this angle. The radiator inlets has changed quite dramatically. Mercedes has gone for the Red Bull style split inlets approach with both vertical and horizontal inlets in play. The vertical and horizontal inlets of the W16 are not connected. They are both separate inlets, and that horizontal inlet is really extreme. Overall, the inlets are really big, and I believe Mercedes are thinking at this element similar to Ferrari, thinking that it could be a competitive season and that when running in traffic, you need to make sure you can cool the car. From the side-on view, we can clearly see that the Sidepods geometry on the W16 is completely brand new. The top surface of the Sidepod is much more cambered when compared to the W15. This should do a better job of pulling cleaner airflow towards the car's rear, energizing the diffuser. We'll probably see Mercedes tweaking this area to improve fluid flow and reduce fluid spillage possibly. Looking down, we can see that the undercut is larger, extreme and deeper compared to the W15. This theoretically should energize the airflow that is flowing downstream towards the car's rear end, which should result in better downforce generation and a stronger rear end. Moving a bit back, we get to a very interesting piece of design detail. Mercedes has pushed the Sidepods back in at this region, creating a low pressure zone, a design idea which Mercedes themselves introduced back in 2023 to the W14 at the Belgian Grand Prix. This here creates a low pressure zone which pulls the air flowing from the Sidepod's front towards the car's rear, once again to energize the car's rear end diffuser. Looking at the underfloor next, Mercedes has done some key revisions to this part, making it probably the biggest conceptual change of the W16. Starting from the barge board, Mercedes has smoothened out this area for the W16 to carry much smoother airflow. Looking at sys bulge, Mercedes has revised this part slightly, with the bulge protruding a bit more on the W16 compared to the W15. Aerodynamically, this directs airflow towards the floor edge and diffuser. The floor edge itself has been revised. A metal strake has been added right underneath the first vortex generator of the floor edge, which should result in more powerful vortices to help seal the underfloor better. Moving a little behind, you can see the W16's throat around this area raised a bit compared to the W15, suggesting that Mercedes has added a mid-floor throat starting from this point. This suggests to me that Mercedes has added kicks to the diffuser once again, and the throat is coinciding right before the kick line. This, if executed properly, should improve the underfloor's pressure distribution, ride height sensitivity, and aerodynamic stability under acceleration and braking. Optimizing this design during the pre-season test will be crucial, as Mercedes is yet to lock its working underfloor concept for this cycle of regulations. Looking at the rear suspension, Mercedes has retained the pushrod rear suspension for the W16 as expected, but the team apparently has made revision to the geometry itself. Probably have revised carbon fiber fairings and reshaped aero tethers, probably repositioned too, but it's hard to tell from this image. The main objective here for Mercedes would be to improve the car's rear end from a mechanical point of view, while complementing the car's aero performance simultaneously. Looking at the engine cover, Mercedes has made the engine cover bigger and curved it towards the rear to dictate the airflow towards the car's rear. The cooling louvers are not changed at all. It's still the same design and the same place as last year. Much has been talked about the shark fin, but I'm not seeing huge differences here between the W15 and W16. The rear wing, its last year's medium downforce wing, probably Mercedes fooling us in these renders. They probably have a new family of wings, more efficient ones to complement the design changes made to the W16. Looking at the rear, we can see Mercedes has introduced a new beam wing spec. Looks to be really high wing downforce, just for renders I suspect. The diffuser ramp seems to be much more refined than the W16, but other than that, nothing much more to see from this angle. Looking at other minor yet important aerodynamic revisions, let's take a look at the wing mirrors. While the stay is not revised, the mirror housing is, as the housing edge is pulled in to create a sort of outwash effect, which might help reduce fluid spillage from the Sidepods top. Next, at the front of the car, we can see Mercedes has reprofiled the underside of the car's nose cone, probably to dictate cleaner airflow towards the underfloor. Mercedes has made lots of changes. The car is striking, of course, and if James Allison is right, the team should be very close to the top 3 from the season start. But let's see. I'm really optimistic this season about Mercedes' performance. Hopefully they are close to the frontrunners, which should provide us with more entertainment. But what do you guys think about the Mercedes W16? Share your thoughts and perspectives in the comment section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2025 Formula 1 season.